www.sv.com.
Today we are doing the 12th edition of that book review, and it's quite interesting today because of the books that we are going to review today. I've had to read that book, not unto death. I've read it in one sitting, and it's quite interesting. But what we do is that the first book we would review is the one by Charlotte. She will go first. Dr. Ndiribe was on this platform last time, and she has the last time it was very interesting with her book, The Dead Man's Tale and Other Stories. And one thing I want to say is that I want people that want to buy this book, because many people have been asking me about this book, that they can buy it on Amazon. And I think when she's talking about it, she will give us the link on how to buy it on Amazon. And Dr. Ndiribe, when they buy it on Amazon, please, my 25%.
I'll send you money.
My 25%, let it get to me. Yeah, Dr. Ndiribe is a lecturer.
Sorry, sir, if I may come in.
Yes, sir.
Does it mean that the hard copies are not available?
Yeah, Dr. Ndiribe, you want to answer to that?
Okay, they are available, but I don't know if you can see my screen, what I'm showing you right now.
If they're available, give them to. If they're available, give them to.
There is a link to the book. I should do what?
If they're available, give them to Pastor Ajayi.
Okay, to market.
Copy.
The hard copy.
Yes.
Give the hard copies to him.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
He has a book.
Yes, I know.
He will get it across once.
Okay.
God bless
Dr.
you.
Ndiribe,
thank you very much.
Okay, so straight on, we would let her in. We've introduced that last time, and I know that many people on this platform were here last time, the last month. So Dr. Ndiribe, you can go ahead now. You can take the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to make my screen bigger because I just wanted to show something. So I don't know, I think I'm struggling with, I don't know, I'm just struggling with that. But I want to ask if you can see this, what I'm showing.
Yeah, we can see that. Dead Man's Tale and Other Stories, Charlotte.
Yes, I just wanted to show underneath, it's a little bit of marketing, but the link to where you can also get the book online. It's Author House.
Dr. Ndiribe, why don't I make a suggestion? Why don't you type it in the chat column?
Okay, I'll do that.
I think that would be the best thing, so everybody will see it there.
Okay, I'm going to do that. That's a very good idea.
Maybe after your review.
Okay, after my review, I would just type in this. What I have on this card is just basically Author House. www.authorhouse.com. So if I'm going to start, can I go ahead? Do I go ahead?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I've chosen to read the 13th story, Waiting to Die. So I'm reading from this book called Dead Man's Tale and Other Stories. And there are 25 stories in the book. The last time I read the 11th, and I was going to read another story, but because of the second reviewer's story, I chose to read Waiting to Die as a sort of respect to what he has been through, okay? And what we all, Nigerians and a lot of Africans have been through and are still going through. So I'll just go straight ahead. So Waiting to Die. In a not too distant past, when TV stations broadcast live from 4 p.m. every evening, the people were more humane and sympathetic. The use of a landline as a home telephone, which was domiciled in the living room, meant that conversations were kept streamlined and of the highest purity. The absence of cinemas and game houses really meant that for most people, they only had each other. When the red, yellow, and blue broad striped colors came on the TV screen, along with the typical shrill sound, little children everywhere wagged their tails in excitement and sat down to watch a TV that sat on a table. Placed in their hands or on the carpets before them was a bowl of white rice and stew or yam porridge. They were regularly programmed with TV shows such as Voltron, Defender of the Universe, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, Danger Mouse, Super Ted, Inspector Gadget, Rent the Ghost, Allo Allo. I don't know if you remember all those anyway.
Yeah.
Robin Hood. Some mothers do have them.
Oh, wow.
Charles
I love
Dickens,
that. Some
Charles
mothers do
Dickens,
have
Oliver
them.
Twist.
Yes.
Yes. Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, The Invisible Man, Bassey and Company, Cock Crow at Dawn, Mirror in the Sun, Village Headmaster, Ichoku, New Masquerade, Hot Cash, Things Fall Apart, and Tales by Moonlight. The programs generally had educative content. Those were the days people read books. There were bookshelves in the living room of nearly every home. The people studied to pass examinations and become one of a lawyer, doctor, or engineer. Other professions were not to be mentioned for prestige's sake and avoidance of family feuds. The people had fewer distractions. Indoors, it was the TV, VHS, cassette player, or home games, such as Monopoly, Scramble, Snakes and Ladders, What playing cards, Ludo, chess, and the local Ayo, which promoted even greater family bonding. The children listened to nursery rhymes such as Humpty Dumpty, Mr. Macaroni, and Old Roger is Dead. And they memorized them. The children listened to strange stories of caution about the mythical Lady Koi Koi, bush babies, Mami Water, Ojuju Calabar, Willy Willy, and the danger of turning into yam or have missing genitals if they picked up discarded money. For instance, the first two ensured children never wandered off at night, while the third ensured they never dived into water or drowned, except of course they were from riverine areas. Outdoors, it was an amusement park, the beach, Mr. Biggs, a birthday party, wedding, traditional festival, or visit to a relative's house, which promoted greater family bonding and good social skills. When NEPA struck with their power cuts, as usual, the children played 10-10 outside. They would form a big circle like their mother's cooking pot, then sing a song like Who is in the Garden and clap their hands in friendly exchange. They would hide and seek each other out on a playground. They played sway, jumping on 6 or more square boxes in a big rectangle, improvised on sand. The intellectual ones still preferred to play with pen and paper. They played X and O, word spelling games, or practiced essay writing for fun. I'm going to stop soon, but I need to stop somewhere for it all to make sense why I'm saying all this. The girls cooked with empty tins of pig milk and sand. They added leaves and ants to garnish. The boys climbed trees in search of fruits and used catapults to catapult small animals into the realm of the dead. The children played football, table tennis, badminton, and volleyball. They went for drama and cultural dance practices, all of which taught them knowledge about themselves, character, and respect for others. They went about from house to house, eating, and from neighborhood to neighborhood, exploring life. The adults exchanged foods freely and kept their children in each other's care. Nobody got missing. Nobody poisoned anybody. Importantly, the people did not live in fear or mistrust for one another. In that time, people spoke to people physically. People actually sat down to write letters. Imagine. There were love letters flying about everywhere. Teenagers and young adults were assembled, especially in educational institutions. That was how the people courted and formed healthy families with little to no divorce rates. Then they started to die, one by one. It all started so very gradually, a death at a time. At first, all the little girls had in a corner of their rooms a little white doll that sat motionless, but craved love and attention. All the boys had toy guns, dangerous trucks, and power stuffed male robots of cartoon characters. I will stop there. If I am permitted to stop there.
No.
I should go. Okay, I've already read too much. So for a book, I think I've already read too much.
Just learn to read more.
Okay, so more spoilers.
You have a lot of story in your book. So I think if people knows the end of this and to motivate them to read others.
Okay, I don't think you should read to the end.
Can I just interject just 1 second?
Okay.
For me, what's inspired, what's really exciting is referring to stuff that one grew up with, and just taking one's mind back to those wonderful, what I would consider to be wonderful times of, novel reading, literature, and that is just, for me, that's really got me already. So I don't need any more convincing. Just that I haven't had time. I started reading it, but now I'm convinced I have to finish reading it. So yeah, I just thought I'll say that.
Okay. So thank you for that.
Thank you. So
thank you for that.
Just give us a little more pep.
Okay, let me do. Okay, I'll do that. Let me continue from where I stopped.
Okay.
All the daddies and mommies, including most of their religious leaders, had pictures of the white Jesus, Mona Lisa, or the Last Supper hanging down their walls. Every time their little one pointed and asked who the man was, the reply came swift enough. Jesus, Daddy said, your Lord and Savior. And Daddy's word was authority. It was the voice of God on earth, to be obeyed hook, line, and sinker. How they did not know it, but the damage was done. They had been infiltrated, body, mind, and soul. They were gone. How they did not know it. It was only a matter of time. Indeed, in only a matter of years, with the coming of satellite TV, the airways exploded. The TV was now available for anyone who bothered round the clock. Like the floodgates of hell, diverse cultural confusion began to pour in. into a people that had not yet relearned how to be themselves. The brainwashed tools they held indoors were reinforced in their lives by TV stations as intentionally placed. For there were tons and tons of movies and TV series which had no Black person in them, except of course in cleaning aprons or as dumb criminals. Stephanie, there's just a few more paragraphs, so let me stop there.
Okay, thank you. I think that's giving us more pep to read, to go buy the book and read it. So thank you, Dr. Nduribe.
You're welcome.
I hope you come and read more next week, next month.
My journey was.
Okay.
Some people are joining in very late.
Yeah. Okay. So let's switch to the next reviewer. Okay. Otumba Fadipe, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this book is particularly very interesting. You can see it at his back, not unto death. And
yes.
You know, when you see such a title, you want to see what is inside the book. And when I started to read the book, I couldn't place it down because I wanted to know what happened next. I've heard of people having leukemia, and you know, I know it's very, very lethal. That's cancer of the blood, I think, yeah. So, and for somebody to survive it not only once, but twice, shows that, you know, with God, all things are possible.
Yeah.
That is just the summary of the book. I won't want to say much because he is here himself to tell us the whole story and the journey. So all those, to, you know, what he went through and how God was able to help him through. So our reviewer for today is Otumba David Adeoye Fadipe. And by way of introduction, is a chartered management accountant by profession and is a managing partner of NL Consulting, a management accounting firm. He's the founding director of Forward Drive Health Limited, a UK-based social enterprise company aimed at promoting early diagnosis of blood cancer, raising awareness and advocating for blood and stem cells donation, especially in Africa and among minority ethnic groups living in the United Kingdom. I want to stop there because, you know, when we were talking about stem cell and how difficult it is for Africans to get donors, it was in his book. I think those are some of the motivating factors that, you know, really drove him to start those NGOs and then to write this book that we are reading. He's joining us from the United Kingdom tonight. And from here, I want you to take the floor.
Okay,
welcome, sir.
Thank you, Brother Olumide Ajayi. God bless you indeed. Unlike Charlotte, my own, the way I'm going to review this, because the nature of these two books are different, aren't they? One is beautiful relics of stories that are really inspiring and nice. But I mean, maybe afterwards I'll be able to ask Charlotte what you know, who the audience are supposed to be. Is it like an evening rhyme? Is it like something like that? But I will ask that later on. So, but in my case, it's a case of me sharing my experience and which I believe has been inspiring to a whole lot of people who have read the book. Just like Brother Olumide said, I mean, I've had some, I've had people come back to me and say, wow, when I was reading that, especially people who are with me through the journey, they'll be saying, wow, you know, the more we read that, I can live through that journey with you back again. And, you know, I never thought I would one day write a book or call myself an author. I mean, that's all I know all my life is accountancy, financial management, profit and loss, balance sheet, and all the rest of it. But to think of writing a book has never been in my vocabulary. So I've always loved to just buy a book, read and enjoy, until Issues of Life altered my journey. First in September 2005. Like Brother Olumide said, I've survived 2 leukemia cancers, and in those two periods, I've spent a total of about 23 months in hospital. But thank God for grace, thank God for a good environment where the medical facilities are available. I was surprisingly diagnosed with acute, they call it acute myeloid leukemia, back in 2005, just after we buried my dad in Nigeria and I came back here. And but I survived that after spending 9 months in hospital. I don't know how I did that because a whole lot of people passed away. But one thing I want to share, which is in this book, which is very, very evident in this book, is that, number one, just because you're diagnosed with a life-threatening disease doesn't mean a death sentence. There's a lot of skills I learned during my hospital stay. Number one, I learned to have endurance. And I'm surprised about my pain pressure as well. I was able to, because, you know, the thing called cancer, especially cancer of the blood, bones, and all that, could be very extremely painful. Ironically, you don't know where the pain is coming from. It's just pain. It's just there. You don't know where it's coming from. It's just all over your body. So I learned, you know, when you're filling your CV, you say, what's your experience? The experiences I learned in my hospital stays are those things, you know, to be, and also to actually look at things, you know, have a positive mindset. Like I said, I never, you know, 10 years after the first bout, I thought that was it. So I was living life normally, you know, having fun, enjoying life. And then, you know, 10 years in 2015, came back here and I was diagnosed with a relapsed leukemia again. And you can understand, you know, where that was coming from. So this is the book. So I'm giving this background story so you know where we are. So, but after God miraculously healed me from the second cancer, and after I've had a stem cell transplant, that's what Brother Olumide was mentioning there, stem cell transplant. There's a lot of things that I wrote in that book, which I believe will bless people. And one thing is about us as Black and ethnic minority people. We know how to donate, you know, in church, give our tithes and offerings, this, that, have parties. But one thing we don't do, we do not donate blood. We do not donate the necessary things that can save people's lives. And this is, I wrote quite a lot there. You know, it's funny, after I finished the book, I wrote this book over a 4-year period because the experiences of writing it was difficult in the sense that, you know, reliving the past, reliving everything. It was after I finished writing it that I realized that even the title of the book is on John chapter 11, verse 4. I don't know if you all remember. I'm sorry for non-Christians on the platform, but, you know, I wrote this book based on my faith and my belief in God and how God miraculously, and I called it miraculously, healed me from those 2 cancer experiences. So in John 11:4, this was about when Lazarus was presumed to have been dead for 4 days. And his sisters were telling Jesus, when they called Jesus, that, oh Lord, if you had been here, our brother would not have died. You know, they called Jesus and Jesus did not move from where he was for 2 extra days. He stayed there. So that also tells me, that's another thing I try to bring out in this book, that when you hear something, it's important to sit down, calm down, review it, look at it and say, because when I heard I was diagnosed with leukemia cancer, I didn't know what it was. And so I remember looking back at the doctor, I said, can you see? Can you really see properly? I started the book with a short story of my background. The simple reason for that is that I've never been sick, seriously. And some very important facts about me prior to being diagnosed with what I consider to be an alien illness, alien disease. That's what I consider it to be. I've never really understood cancer or leukemia up to that point, even though I was aware of it. So I wrote a bit about my childhood in the preliminary pages, thus to buttress the point that, there's a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of things that we did not know growing up. Maybe because our parents didn't really know it, especially when you come from Ekiti, there's little that you know. And I used to think cancer was a white-only disease. Brother Alumide would have seen this on my chapter 2. I actually dedicated quite a lot of attention to that chapter, that, when you hear cancer, when I came to this country some few years back, by that I mean like 3 decades or something, it's, you hear that white people have cancer, and to me, just a white people disease. So I thought it was only meant for white people. So that's hence the title of my second chapter, which was appropriately titled Only White People Have Cancer. Now, I think I also explained it there why I wrote that, because when my consultant told me I was diagnosed with cancer, AML, I said to her that she should start wearing glasses. She asked me why. I said, well, just in case you can't see, I'm a Black person, and Black people do not have cancer. She looked at me, she said, I still remember, bless her, Sylvia. She goes, David, I don't know whether to cry or to laugh. But listen, my friend, every human being, and this is another lesson, every human being born of another human has cancer cells in our system. She told me it does not matter whether you're pink, white, yellow, red, or whatever color you are, there are cancer cells. Some people live all their lives, they drink, they smoke, they do this, that, it doesn't get triggered. Other people are like exercise freak. They look after themselves, but for whatever reason, it gets triggered. So I said, so what was the reason for mine? She said, well, yours was due to a prolonged period of stress and anxiety. When she said that, I realized she was right. So that's another thing that I emphasize in my book that we need to look out for. We need to keep away from being stressed. We need to keep away from any anxiety. We need to have, change whatever is negative to positive, have a positive mindset. And then for the rest of the book, I asked many questions from God as to why me? Why me was the title of my chapter 3. And you will all know, we're all Christians, grew up in. So there's a lot of questions I asked them. Why me? Because I was a good Christian. I didn't understand why am I bedeviled by this and that? It covers, like I said, the book covers acceptance of my situation and holding on to God as the only path to me surviving and beating that disease. It covered me being steadfast in faith, because there's one thing for us to say, I'm a Christian, we go to church. When it is nice, we laugh, we smile, but it is only actually when we're in trouble, we actually know whether we trust God or not. That's the truth. And I also gained massive experience of endurance through pain. Because like I said before, when the pain is coming, you don't know where it's coming from. Now, the question is, do you want to get out of your body, which is not possible, or do you want to endure the pain, fill your mind with I keep saying this. That was the first time I knew about UFLA music, because my brother brought me a DVD video of him. It was then I realized this guy can be, how do you put it? From way I'm going to survive this. I started speaking positively to myself. So that is one thing I'm sure a lot of people take away from this. There's pain to praise. That's what I call that, because when I was in pain, I was singing gospel music. Attitude adjustment as well. I stopped blaming myself. I stopped asking why me? Why me? Why me? Why this? There's a lot in that book about my attitude, because this is about my experience. This is about what I went through personally. It was easier for me to relieve those things and put them on paper. And then, of course, I also learned to have peace in the midst of the storm. That when the storm is raging, it reminds me of when Jesus said to his disciples, let's move to the other side. And the disciples did not, Peter, James, and John, they didn't understand what Jesus meant. At that time, Jesus said it, his mind was already on the other side. So, so when they got in the middle of the sea and the raging sea came, they were scared, they were this, that. And he said, why did you doubt? So again, that helped me out, because when I was in there, even though you hear a whole lot of stories from the doctors, they're not sure, they're not this, that, but my mind was already at the other end. My mind was there that I was going to beat this. Even during the second time, I was going to beat this, and I was going to be the first person I know that survived leukemia twice. And glory be to God, here I am as a living testimony to that. So there's so much in the book, and there is massive benefits in the book for anyone going through similar health challenge. Even if you're not going through it, obviously we all know one person or the other. And let me also say this. I think I also tried to bring it out in the book that the word cancer is not just this leukemia. It's not even just breast cancer. Cancer can be anything. It can be bad relationship, unemployment, lack. When they say, oh, God will remove this cancer from you, it doesn't necessarily mean the physical cancer. It can be anything. So for me, the book is written on whatever cancer you call it, cancer of lack, cancer of broken relationship, cancer of this, that, it is not over until God says it's over. You can beat it. You can overcome. The book is packed with evidences and testimonies of God's unending grace on my life. And of course, the other thing I used there that God, helped me to do was to actually, it's amazing how much you find answers to every problem in the Bible. Every chapter has a verse of the Bible starting it. And in the midst of that, other examples were also quoted from the book. So the Bible passages is to support every situation we may find ourselves, to know that God has an answer in every situation. The fact that the book was written from a personal experience also makes the contents authentic and actual realities or struggles with cancer and eventual triumph. So I'm going to just quickly read to you just a couple of paragraphs. I did mention something about only my chapter 2 says only white people have cancer. And I started out by saying, I called on the Lord in my distress. The Lord answered me and set me in a broad place. That's in Psalm 118:5. And I said, if you're like me, who sometimes ask so many questions of God, your reactions to being told you have cancer would probably be the same as mine. The sufferings of Job in the Holy Bible have much to say about our natural reactions to trials and adversities of our own lives, and how easy it is for us to allow them to affect our relationship with God. And then I think I have a footnote there talking about what Job's sufferings were. I've always heard about people being diagnosed with various forms of life-threatening illnesses and their reaction to sudden news that will lead to a drastic change to their lifestyle. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that is when you're diagnosed with cancer, doctors will actually tell you how long you've got to live, what percentage of what chances you have. I was given first time 30% chance to survive. First time. Second time, they didn't bother to give me percentages. Obviously, they didn't want to, kill me before bad time. But here I am. So it doesn't matter, 10%, 15%. Yeah, if it's only 10% that survives, my mindset was changed to saying, I'm going to be one of those 10%. I've always wondered what it feels like and how one feels when a life-threatening diagnosis is given by doctors. Even though I know about various types of life-threatening illnesses, such as diabetes, HIV, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or sickle cell anemia, nothing prepared me for receiving such devastating news of being diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. I had mixed emotions. On one hand, I was told the reasons I had painful and uncomfortable symptoms over the past month. And then I'm being told that I may have just weeks, months, or just a few years to live. Absolutely nothing prepares one for such reality, that life may end now. It was strange. And then that's just 1 or 2 paragraphs from my chapter 2. Then I mentioned the word, why me? Yes, I asked a whole lot of questions. And then to start that chapter, I said, you are my refuge and my shield. I put my hope in your word. Not knowing what was next, I remember this verse of the Bible when I was reciting it as I was being taken in the ambulance. Because after I was diagnosed from one hospital, I had to be taken in an ambulance in a horrible, windy, rainy weather to another hospital. And I said, as I was being taken in the ambulance from Chase Farm Hospital to Barnet General, it was a windy and wet evening. Wife was driving her car behind the ambulance through Hadley Woods to Barnet. Well, okay, I don't want to be calling names. Let me just, after a difficult drive through the woods in the bad weather, the ambulance parked. I had no idea where we were, because even though I worked in that environment for 6 years prior to that, I never knew that hospital was there. So you can imagine, I worked in that borough for 6 years. I didn't realize that was there. So that was the beginning of my 9-month stay in a strange environment, considering I have never spent over 1 week in hospital prior to this day. So now going through the book, it's about how many pages, how many chapters? About 16 chapters. And then of course, that's I don't know if you can see, well, okay, Brother Lumide pointed it to you. Towards the end of it, I also, please forgive me for giving some graphic pictures of some of my graphic pictures when I was there. It's just so for you to know that it does not matter how difficult it got. Oh, I can't, if you can see that. Yeah, it didn't matter how difficult it got, but in the end, I overcame. So glory to God. I encourage you to, dwell into the, like Brother Olumide said, even me that wrote it, I've surprised myself. I read it twice already. I can't believe I will do that. But the more I'm reading it, it's bringing quite a lot back to me. And I thank God that, it's a project I didn't know was going to be finished. And I thank God for the reactions that the book has. For me, my priority, my hope and expectation is that this book will impact life, and it will help people to be able to deal, because it's not just about medicine. Doctors will tell you they can only administer medicine based on their skills. They don't know how it feels. They don't know how you react to it as a patient. So I am hoping that, just like motivational speaking, I'm hoping that this book will motivate people and help them to be able to live through whatever difficult situation there is, first of all, by forming an attitude, a positive mindset, and by, be patient, and by being, especially rely on God, that God is able. Let's not, God is able to solve these problems. For me, I am here. I consider myself as a living testimony. That's why I asked God for a second time. I said, Lord, save me so that I can be a living testimony. That means somebody who I know, the only me I know that survived leukemia cancer twice. So thank you very much. As I said, there's 16 chapters there. I've only just touched on 2 chapters, but I've literally more or less covered the book with my summarized version. If you have any questions, please let me know. This book is available. I mean, Brother Lumide is going to be getting some hard copies. One of the reasons why I've been trying, because publishing here and bringing it to Nigeria is not cost effective. So I've been looking for a way to actually do a print in Nigeria for the Nigerian market. But there are a Kindle version and paperback version on amazon.co.uk. And also there's, I will type it there. There's also copies on our website, which is notuntodeath.com. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'll be more than prepared to answer them. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir. We are grateful for sharing your audio, putting out your life there for other people to learn. And I can say authoritatively that it's quite interesting. And whatever is not only cancer, just like you put it, whatever anybody is going through, your faith in God is very important. And you said particularly that it was a prolonged stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
That the doctor said, and I picked that one, and something that many people should know about. So I will be taking questions from the two speakers that have spoken. If you have questions, you can say it. I have some people have typed theirs on the chat.
Yeah. I've seen Steve ask me about what were the initial symptoms. Again, it's like, we're having COVID now, for example. Initial symptoms that I experienced were, first of all, very high temperature. My temperature was rocking up to 39. And even in that high temperature, feeling very, very cold and sneezing. And other very important symptoms is if you have a small little cut, for example, and it's bleeding and it doesn't stop, please check it out. That is so very important. Bleeding that doesn't stop, or coughing or cold or fever. And then there's another one is you always feeling very tired. You won't lose, unlike COVID, where you lose your sense of taste. You don't lose sense of taste. It's not like you can eat very much, but you're feeling extremely weak and tired after it, I remember then that, during the first time, prior to me being diagnosed with, like I said, my dad died. And so I was in Nigeria, the burial and everything and all this and that. There's another thing I wanted to mention there is that we as Black people, we have these mystical beliefs that whatever happens is never ordinary. We think it's the mother, father from this side that is doing this person and that person. No, it's not. Because I remember when I came back and I was diagnosed, some people said to me, "Oh, you're going to bury your dad. They have done something. Oh, they have shot you with something. No, this and that." It's not. We don't realize that our bodies, it's like the car we drive. You drive a car all the time and you don't maintain it. You don't do an MOT, you don't do servicing. It goes to wear and tear and it stops working at some point. So that's the way our body is. So those are the symptoms that I was feeling. Weakness, extreme weakness, headaches as well, bleeding that don't stop, which unusual bleeding is what they call it. So, yeah.
Okay, I saw Kanayo's hands up. Kanayo, can you ask a question?
Okay, good evening. Thanks, Otumba Dioye, for that review.
Thank you.
I want to believe the details will be contained in the book itself, but permit me to ask this question. When you said that when you were initially diagnosed of cancer and you were told that it has to do with stress and anxiety. And I'm just wondering, where you're already going through stress and anxiety, you now hear that you had cancer. Won't that trigger the stress and anxiety to how we are able to navigate
it? Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't realize I was going through stress and anxiety. Honestly, I didn't. You know, I mean, as a young person, you're chasing this, that, aggressively chasing stuff and wanting to be successful here and there. So you don't, if anybody told you were stressing, you say, what are you talking about? What stress? But it was when they told me that at the hospital that I realized, yes, you know what? Over the last 6 months prior to that, I've actually been so stressed out. Number one, I was doing some business in Nigeria, I lost some money. You know, when money was money, I'm talking of 2003, 4. I can't remember what the exchange rate was then, but I lost something around 300, 400,000, which in today's rate would be like millions. So, and when you come from here, and then of course you have all these stories then that if you go to Nigeria or country of our birth, you can't really trust anybody. So yeah, I was stressed. I was betrayed by some business deals. Then of course, my dad's burial came. We have to spend money and all that, me and my brother. So yeah, it was then. But when I was told that it was a result of prolonged, actually the word they used, I'll never forget, is that it was a result of prolonged period of stress and anxiety. So once they told me that, was I stressed again when they told me that? No, because the stress was already there. So I had to come to a situation where I have to get rid of that stress from my mind and have a positive mindset that, okay, so this is what caused it, all right. If I'm going to die, stress is not going to kill me, so that's it. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question enough.
Yeah, it does, it does. I'm just, you know, the way we say when we hear the news, cancer, guys, the natural tendency is that, guy, seems I'm close to it. So someone that is already going through stress and then I broke the news that, look, you have cancer. I'm just thinking how the person will receive that news and how will be able to navigate. Well, I think your story is quite inspiring. Thank you very much, sir.
I think just to bring you back on that one, that, you know, like I said in the book, when you, I think there's a place where I wrote that if you are like me, who's never been sick, and then for anybody to now tell you you've been diagnosed with some alien disease, yeah, you have the initial shock, there's no doubt. I had my shock, I was in that shock for a week. But I wasn't in that shock. I wasn't stressed. I was just angry with God. I was just extremely upset, thinking, I'm a Christian. I've been in the choir since the age of 6. What is this? You know, maybe I should just have lived my life anyhow, and then I wouldn't have been bothered and all that and all that. So yeah, you'll be shocked. But I think it doesn't increase your anxiety level at that point. Especially because you've been told. I mean, let's face it, you've been told that you have this, so there's no going back on it. You have this, so it's either you take care of it, you get looked after, you get into hospital and get cured. It's like you're already like a passenger in an aeroplane. So this is the aeroplane is already at 33 feet above the sea level. What are you going to do? You're going to jump off the plane? I'm sorry. So that's the way I see it. So you've already been told. And that's where your positive mindset comes into. That's where you have a change of mindset to say, okay, so this is where I am. All right. Now, this is where I want to go. Okay. I'm looking at a question. I'm looking at a couple more questions. Somebody said, what really caused it? Was it genetic or something you have done in your system? Well, from my explanation so far, it's not, like I said, it's not, I would say, if we were to say genetic, some people, I mean, I've been told by my family, my immediate family, that I have this tendency to be, to show anxiety or to ask myself too many questions sometimes. And I don't think my brother is like that. I only have one brother and one sister. I don't think it's like that. But I think, yeah, we do question ourselves sometimes when we think we're not doing well or something. I don't know. Is it genetic? Probably. When I say probably, do I know whether my mom or dad were like that? I don't have a clue, because, I mean, I left home so early. I didn't really grow up with them. So, but it is possible. It's possible it's genetic, but the genetic nature of it is not so much that it's in the physical body. No, the genetic nature of it is just the mindset that, okay, maybe you have the tendency to be anxious or to be depressed or to be, you know, that kind of thing. Depression, we must run away from it.
Okay. You said, was there a place of natural health in your healing?
What does that mean? What's that question mean?
Natural health.
Was there a place of natural health? I don't understand. What does it mean?
Okay.
Do you mean, did I take natural, oh, medical, not sure what causes AML? Oh.
Okay.
Acute myeloid leukemia is just a cancer of the blood.
I think maybe the person meant to type natural.
Natural what, Shalom?
Natural health, like fruits. He said like fruits.
I think maybe the person meant natural herbs. I don't.
Natural herbs. Oh, like fruits. Okay. Yeah. Again, look, we talk so much about the food we eat. Yeah, I mean, it says that whatever we put in is what we get out. It's important, yeah, I mean, I grew up taking agbo, natural herbs in Nigeria when I was a child. And yeah, eating well, I'm looking at somebody saying eating well. You need to, I'm not a doctor. All I can remember is that for me, the first thing that helped me was changing my mindset from being negative about everything. I was eating what took my fancy. It wasn't so much about, oh, you must eat fruits. Yeah, dietitians will tell us that, oh, you have to have 5 fruits a day. I have a lot more than that. I have bananas, I have this, that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, now even. You just take what is good for your health. I mean, you know, whilst I'm not going to say, oh, this is that, no. But you take what is good for your health. What place the prayer or the what? Oh my goodness, that is the thing. Prayer and the word. You know, during my first stay in hospital was the first time I ever read the whole of Psalm 119. I never knew it was that long. The reason being, there's nothing to do. You have the time. So I buried myself in the word, to be honest, because again, that encourages you, especially when you see some answers to the problems you're going through in the Bible. It helps you to actually take your mind off the pain. Yeah.
Okay, I can see some hands up. Adedeji Fadehan. Can you ask a question now?
Well, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
I want to appreciate the authors. The story of Mr. Fadipe is quite inspiring. And I would like to say a very big shout out to Dr. Ndiribe. I love the book review. I told myself I can't miss this review. So I can't. I'm so glad to hear your voice again after so many years.
Thank you.
So it was wonderful. I'm not surprised. You are a hardworking person from day one. So I know many more books are coming out, and I can't wait to read the books.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, Adedeji. Thank you so much for those wonderful words. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Chris. Chris.
Good evening. Hi. Good evening. I hope it's evening where you all are.
Yeah, we can see you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks to the authors. Inspiring story. My first question goes to Dr. Charlotte. When I look at the book, I have two questions, by the way, one for Otumba as well, but for Doctor. When I look at your book and the cover, it looks like I was expecting to hear horror stories, and then I hear this. I hear what you read, the excerpt that you read out. And
exactly what I expected. Yeah.
I didn't hear you. What did you say? I didn't hear you. I heard when I see the cover.
Yeah, when I see the cover of your book,
Yes.
I'm expecting to hear horror stories, and then you read this excerpt, and then I'm taken back to to the past. Now, are these kinds of stories we expect, or is there some?
No, actually, there are very, very horror stories that I myself get scared at. I mean, like if I want to read them again, I look at the time of the day. Is it too late? Can I read this by this time? Yes, there are stories in there that I myself cannot reread at night. So I carefully left them out because it's a mixture of, thrillers. So I actually picked this one that is not so scary. And because of the title of the second reviewer's book, Not Unto Death. So I just picked something that had, something waiting to die in it. But, I want you to see the link. But he didn't die, but it was like he was waiting to die many times, like being in hospital for many months, but he did not die. So we have been like in a death, we Africans, we Nigerians have been left in that kind of death state, but we haven't died. We are still here. You see what I mean? That's why it took us back to what we have been, going through. So but there are very scary stories there. Trust me.
So we will not be disappointed.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Otumba, a question for you, if you will.
Yeah.
Is it correct that you were in the UK when you were diagnosed with this?
Yes, that's correct.
So I see that you're marketing, or at least you're giving this story of hope, and you're asking when an average Nigerian reads this, knowing that in the UK you have this health system that works, and to what extent did that also play a part, and what's the what should a typical Nigerian situation take out of this?
Well, this is it. If you remember, I don't know if you were online when Media was introducing me. I also have a social enterprise company called Forward Drive Health, which is focusing mainly on actually raising money from here to do things in Nigeria, especially to bring awareness. We're trying to, part of it is to actually try and set up a bone marrow bank in some hospitals in some major cities in Nigeria. And the reason I'm focusing on ethnic minorities, because look, when it comes to the white people, they know when they're diagnosed, they know where to go, they know what to do, they know that they have to donate this, that. We, even people from the ethnic minority backgrounds in this country where I am at now, this is Queen's country, we have problem relating to those things. We have problem donating cells. We think to donate cells, you're going to die. No, you're not. What do you mean by donating cells? You just tie it to a machine and they put a machine, something comes out, goes in there, comes out there. In a couple of hours, you're out. And that's it. It doesn't affect your lifestyle. And they will not do it unless you're fit enough to do it. There's a lot of disinformation that people don't know, which is why part of my things I'm doing in the future, or I've started doing actually, is actually going around and speaking about these things. I've been invited by the oncology department in Lasut to come and talk to some of the patients and doctors and, you know, other places as well. So it's really letting people understand that there are things we can do for ourselves. Yes, I know we have problems of adequate medical provisions in Nigeria, but it doesn't mean the end of the world, you know. There are things that people need to know. There are ways you eat, drink, and things you do for yourself. So that's where I'm at. I'm also going to be having a YouTube program every, you know, that is going to be analyzing the contents of the book as well, you know, and people can ask questions anytime.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Chris. Any more questions before we bring this to a close? Okay. Otunba wanted to ask Dr. Ndiribe some questions.
Yes, I did. Yeah. Dr. Charlotte, so who are your target audience? Is it going to be an evening ride? Because now you even said something that scares me. You said that there are parts of it that are scary, and you have to look at what time of day is before you can read it and all that. So who are your target audience? Plus another thing, I've also sent you. I also sent you. Can you hear me? Hold on. I also sent you.
Sorry, my network has been a bit bad. That's why I've been very.
Okay. I also sent you.
Anybody.
Go on.
I'm sorry. Just go ahead and finish up. Sorry,
okay.
It's breaking.
So
from
I was
my
saying
end.
that because you said now that there's part of it that if you want to read it, I guess you have to look at time of day. I'm thinking, hold on a second. I thought this was the village headmaster kind of stuff, which you can read and rhyme with it and enjoy. But now I'm thinking, okay, so which means that the title, the cover, is now coming into play, that there are some scary stories there. So who are your target audience? Plus, look at your message chat there as well. I sent you a message. So who are your target audience? Who are your target audience?
So basically, anyone who loves fiction, because it's all purely fiction. Right. If you like also some thrill to the fiction. Like when I mean some thrill, like you don't want fiction that will bore you. It's not romance, it's not take it easy kind of fiction. So basically it's for any young adult. It's a clean read. So clean read means that anyone can read it. Okay, there is nothing lewd there. So my audience is really broad. Okay, so anyone who loves fiction, short stories, because the stories are very short. Like this one I read, I was very close to the end. So I just had to stop, because you want to be fair to the person who will purchase the book, right? So that they don't feel, okay, she has read everything. Why am I still going
I don't have to buy?
So yes, I don't have to buy. She has already told us everything. So I had to stop somewhere. So, but basically it's for any fiction lover. And sorry, just also to say, some people I noticed they don't have time for novels. They want something very short and quick that they can just, read quickly and know that they are done. So that's the whole idea of short stories. So there are 25 short stories here. I wanted to actually ask you a question. It's going to be a very short one, because I think for time and everything. You said you started healing, but you said miraculously. So, I mean, when did you notice? How did you just woke up one morning and you were getting better, or what? How was it for? I've been very curious. Did you wake up and it was a reverse?
No. It's never like that. Not at all. I mean, I was in hospital and I was meant to go through what they call courses of chemotherapy and other things. And each course normally takes about 2-3 months. The reason for that is you administer the chemotherapy for the first 10 to 15 days. And once that is done, you become completely neutropenic. There's no immune system in your body at all. And in those times, you're not allowed to leave your room. I mean, I was in private room. You're not allowed to leave your room. And growing back new cells to even maintain yourself can take about a month. So, and then that goes on and on and on. After each cycle of chemo, you're allowed like a week, 2 weeks away. So the first cycle of chemo, I didn't, to an extent, I was thinking, are these people, are they correct? Well, you know, are they just pumping things into my system, this and that? Because I didn't feel any difference. I was still having the pains, I was still having this and that. But after the third cycle, yeah, I can see that the pain reduced, and every other symptoms I've been having, the tiredness, this and that, actually I was like getting back. So, and I had one more to go then. So at the end of the 4 cycles of chemo, which lasted about 9 months, I was sent home that, okay, you've been discharged, but then you have to come to the clinic every day for the first 3-4 weeks, then you come like weekly. So yeah, you get to know the progress because they give you your progress report every time. Okay. So it's not that when I say miraculously, I think the miracle there is that a lot of people, I mean, I was, first time I was admitted same time with about 11 other people. And we're in different rooms. And I don't know how it happened, but I'm the only one that survived. Some lived, some died in the hospital, some were discharged, and then they had a relapse, and their relapse was really bad, and they died. So you can imagine when I was diagnosed with relapse again 10 years later, honestly, did I have a hope of living? No, I didn't. I just thought, okay, that's it. After all, people who had relapsed, they've died. So, but yeah, you don't really know so that's the miracle there. It's the miracle, the miraculous healing that I meant is that God did that surgical operation, performed those healing for me, and
thank you very much. That
Okay, so thank you very much. Before I start to greet everybody, there's one thing we do every time. On the chat, you will see our YouTube channel. Please, you can click on it and then subscribe if you have not done it before. You see it on the chat box. The link is there. Click it to take you to our YouTube channel, and please help us to subscribe to the channel. Oh, thank you everyone for being here, particularly the reviewer, Dr. Charlotte Sindiribe. Thank you very much. I think it is the second time, and you can still come one more time. We're enjoying your work.
You should come one more time to read that scary part.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate. Thank you.
He said you should come and read one of the scary parts the next time.
Okay, I will pick a very scary story.
Okay.
Trust me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great. I'm very grateful. And thank you for coming. And whatever you do next, your YouTube, your this thing, carry us along. I can help you. I can help you.
And I'm going to just type it there. Some copies are going to be made available to you through my brother. So that, but what we're trying to do at the moment is to print it in an affordable, so that we can sell it at affordable amount that people will buy it in Nigeria. Because if I print it from here, it comes out to be around 9,000. I think that's a lot. So we're working on printing some in Nigeria, and then those will be made available to you in due course.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I can see a whole lot of people.